Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So about a year or so ago, I made some gluten-free biscuits from a mix. It was from Charleston Biscuit Company, and they have just come out with a new product. They now have sweet cinnamon biscuits, and they have Cinnabits in them, and they come with a glaze. All gluten-free. They actually sent me this package to try, so I thought I would share the video with you to see if it's something you guys want to look into. These are going to be super easy to make, and I actually have the oven preheating already because it should only take a couple minutes to put together. I'm Jamie with SavorySaver. I share gluten-free recipes, tips, tricks, and resources to make your gluten-free lifestyle easier. So let's get started. So these biscuits are not going to take a long time to put together, as I just said. So yes, my oven is preheating to 450 degrees because I want it to preheat for about 15 minutes. So here's what you're going to need for these biscuits. The packet of mix, and it just cuts off the top, and then there's a zip top. And what's really cool is, first of all, they send the vanilla glaze in a packet, so we will mix that up when the biscuits come out of the oven. The cool thing is they actually send you a little bit of gluten-free flour to put down on your board. So I don't have to go get a big bag out of the cabinet or hunt down which one I'm going to use. They sent me a little bit from my board, so I'm not adding anything else, which is good. The ingredient needed to go with this is 1.5 cups of heavy cream. It's the only ingredient you're going to need for this. Other than for this, you're going to need a little bit of milk or water. So whichever you have at home, you can use. You're also going to need a large baking sheet. I'm going to use non-stick. So you can either use a non-stick or you can butter a baking sheet. I'm going to skip buttering this, guys, because it's non-stick. And I've got a pretty large baking sheet here because every time I grab a baking sheet, it's the wrong size. So I'm just going to go big. This is going to make 10 to 12 biscuits. You want your biscuits to be 2 to 2.5 inches. I've got a 2.5 inch cutter. I also have my silicone mat that you guys know I use all the time because it helps with cleanup and it keeps my dough from sticking any more than it's going to with it being gluten-free. All right, so directions are on the back. Don't let all this scare you. The directions are only this part and they're really easy to follow. It's everything you need to do. It's basically mix, dump, pat out, shape, you're good. So let's dump this in. Next, I'm gonna stir in my 1.5 cups of heavy cream. So I'm gonna stir and pour at the same time, or try to anyway, just to get a better mix. And eventually it's gonna come together, either with the spatula or with my hands, because sometimes I switch to my hands. All right, let's mix it together. I can see the cinnamon bits in here. That's exciting. So it's not just gonna be cinnamon in the biscuit. There's gonna be little bits of cinnamon throughout the biscuit. There's one of those cinnamon bits. That's actually a big piece. There's little pieces in here too. Okay, it literally took a minute or so to come together. I don't see any dry spots in the bowl. So let's get this dumped out onto my countertop. They provided that little bag of flour, so we're gonna put that on there, and I'm gonna use all of it just because it should be plenty. And what am I gonna do with 1/8 teaspoon of flour when I'm done? So there we go. Let's turn this out onto the board. All right, now we wanna flatten our biscuits out. So I want you to pat it out and shape it into a circle. And then the key to fluffy biscuits, gluten-free or non-gluten-free, are you wanna fold the dough over on itself. So, you see all those cinnamon bits? I'm still very excited by that. So you wanna take the dough and fold it over, pat it out. I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna do it again. And now you wanna pat it out till it's about 1.5 inches tall. And don't be afraid to use a little bit of that flour on the board to keep your hands from sticking. All right, so it's patted out to about 1.5 inches. We're gonna take our cutter and cut our biscuits. If you feel like you need a little bit of extra flour, dust the inside of your ring as well, because you don't want to twist these. You just want to try to push down and then lift up. If you twist, you're gonna lose the potential for that extra rise because it's gonna compress the dough. All right, once everything's been cut, you can put these back together. The dough is a little sticky, so don't be afraid to put a little extra flour other than what they send you. Okay, so there are my biscuits. I got 7. It does say you get 10 to 12, but my biscuit cutter was just over 2.5 inches. So that's what I got out of it. Once the oven's preheated, these are gonna bake for 14 to 16 minutes. Once I pull them from the oven, we'll make the glaze and get them glazed. These have been in the oven for 14 minutes. They are definitely done. Look how much they puffed up. They are brown. You can see the cinnamon bits throughout, and the melted ones are on my pan. So definitely butter that pan or use a non-stick because you want to make sure you can clean any of those bits up. I'm gonna let these cool for about 5 or 10 minutes and then we're gonna get the glaze on it. Let's make the glaze while our biscuits are resting for a few minutes. I'm gonna take that packet of powdered sugar, put it in a small bowl. We're gonna take a tablespoon and a half of milk or water. I'm gonna grab my half and half. This is a half tablespoon, so I want 3 of these. 1. Let's stir it up, and guys, you don't want to add more because if you add too much, it's going to be too loose. So let's mix it together. All right, let's let that set for a couple minutes and we'll glaze our biscuits and give them a try. Okay, so there's one plated up with some glaze. There is one that you can see, you can break it right apart in the middle. I'm not going to do that because I only want this one. And I probably don't need to eat all of this since it's lunchtime here. So let's take a little bit, see how it tastes. We will look inside, even though we're not gonna split it open. Inside has that nice cinnamon color. They smell really good. Those are really good. They're a little bit crispy on the outside because of the cinnamon sugar in the mix. The inside though, fully cooked. I cannot tell they are gluten-free, and I love the cinnamon bits in the mix. So you can see in there, I think, there's a cinnamon bit right in the middle of it. These are good. If you guys are looking for an easy mix that's not just a regular gluten-free biscuit, I think these sweet cinnamon biscuits from Charleston Biscuit Company are definitely worth trying. I want to thank Charleston Biscuit Company for sending me the pack to try. Guys, I will link down below to all of their information, so at least go check them out, see what you think, even if you don't order. And if you don't like sweet biscuits, then get a pack of their gluten-free regular biscuits because Tara and I have had those and they cook up amazing. They have a good taste. They do not taste gluten-free. They're easy to make. It's pretty much the same thing as this goes as far as your method. And I think it's also a 1.5 cups of heavy cream for that recipe as well. You don't have to buy a great big thing of heavy cream for this. You just need a pint of it. But guys, Charleston Biscuit Company's gluten-free sweet cinnamon biscuits with cinnamon bits and glaze. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave me any comments below, and I hope to see you in the next video.